You know, this single sentence just perfectly captures one of the biggest challenges we're facing right now. It really sets the stage for this huge question. How in the world do we build guardrails for an intelligence that's evolving at a speed we can barely comprehend?
Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really radical proposal that claims to have a solution for AI's massive governance problem.
It's called LifeStack, and its creator pitches it as, get this, a constitutional layer for intelligent systems. That's a pretty bold claim, right? So, what is the problem it's trying to solve, and how exactly does it propose to do it? Okay, let's get into it.
So before we can really get into the solution, we've got to appreciate just how big the problem is. We're smack in the middle of what you could call an AI trust crisis, and it all comes down to the speed and sheer scale of this new ungoverned intelligence.
Yeah, this visual really nails the core issue. On one side, you've got AI just exploding with this incredible growth. But on the other, the guardrails, the systems for trust and control, they just aren't keeping up. And that gap, well, it creates some very real fears for all of us about surveillance and how our data is being used. And for companies, it creates this massive, frankly unmanageable liability. It all feeds into what the creators call the dystopian vision, a future where our data just isn't our own. This is the exact gap LifeStack says it can fill.
And that brings us to LifeStack. Now, this isn't just another app or some new set of ethical guidelines. No, the way they pitch it, this is a foundational governance layer, something built directly into the very fabric of AI itself.
Okay, so here's the absolute key takeaway. LifeStack wants to make governance a core function, not some add-on or afterthought. The whole idea is to hard code things like consent and accountability right into the AI from day one. And that mission statement, wow, intelligence that remembers its human roots. It's all about making sure that as AI gets smarter and more powerful, it doesn't forget who made it and who it's supposed to be serving.
Okay, so the big question is, how does this thing actually work? The architecture is, pretty complex, but we can break it down into a few core ideas that make it all tick.
It's really a three-step process. First up, identity. Every single AI gets a unique, totally foolproof identity. Think of it like a cryptographic birth certificate. This is huge, because it means no one can just copy an AI and its permissions. Second, that identity is tied to a set of rules they call codons. We'll talk more about those in a sec, but for now, just think of them as the AI's DNA. It defines its purpose and its limits. And finally, there's an internal governance system that's always on, always checking, to make sure the AI sticks to its rules. This prevents something called semantic drift, which is where an AI slowly wanders away from its original purpose as it learns new things.
And this right here, this is the core building block of the entire system. A codon isn't just a simple rule like, do this or don't do that. It's way more sophisticated. It's a mathematical unit that encodes not just what an AI is allowed to do, but also what it is forbidden from doing. And, critically, it also records who gave it those permissions in the first place, its lineage. That's what makes the whole system auditable and verifiable.
This slide does a great job of showing just how different the thinking is here. With traditional AI, we have this notorious black box problem, right? We don't always know why it makes the decisions it does, and rules are usually just slapped on externally, kind of like a bandage. But in the LifeStack model, the rules are internal. They're like a constitution for the AI. Its identity is cryptographically strong, not flimsy. And consent isn't just assumed. It's a core, verifiable piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what's holding all of this together? Well, it takes some seriously advanced tech. The creators call it the secret sauce, a foundation that's designed to be secure even against future attacks from quantum computers.
And get this, 12. That's the number that really jumps out at you. The technical papers detail a whole suite of 12 different quantum algorithms. And these are designed to do the heavy lifting, things like verifying an AI's identity, detecting if it's drifting away from its core rules, and even helping to repair governance violations. We are talking seriously deep tech here. So, what's actually in this secret sauce? Well, it basically comes down to three key ingredients. First, you've got post-quantum cryptography, which is how they create those unclonable identities. Second, there's this really fascinating concept called aperiodic file lattice coherence. In simple terms, it uses the math behind the golden ratio to build a super stable identity for the AI that won't degrade over time. And third, you have that whole suite of 12 quantum algorithms to manage and audit the entire system from the inside out.
All right, so far this all sounds pretty amazing, almost like a perfect solution. But, with any big idea like this, we've got to take a step back and get a reality check. So, to get a balanced perspective, we went looking for an independent review of the project's white paper.
And we found one. The review comes from a firm called Manus AI, and their assessment is really interesting. They give a ton of praise to the core concepts, calling them powerful and innovative, but they also point out some pretty significant blind spots in the work.
And I think this table just sums up the review perfectly. On the one hand, the strengths are obvious. LifeStack does a fantastic job of framing the problem, and it shifts the focus of AI safety in a really innovative way. But here's the catch. The critique points out that the whole project seems to exist in a bubble. It doesn't reference decades of existing academic research on AI safety. It completely ignores major regulations like the EU AI Act, and because of that, it comes across more like a visionary manifesto than a grounded, formal, scholarly proposal.
And that really gets us to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? Is this a practical blueprint we can actually use to build the future of AI, or is it something else entirely? So, this is the question we're left with. Is LifeStack a real, tangible blueprint for building AI that's safe and accountable by its very design? Or is it a brilliant, inspiring manifesto that imagines a better future, but one that's maybe too disconnected from all the real-world work already happening in academia and regulation to ever be implemented? The answer to that question could very well shape the future of AI itself.